All right, welcome to Sport Talk on Enterprise TV, where we give you all the latest from what is happening in the world of sport. Today we'll be doing the review of the UEFA Champions League and of course the preview of the matches that will be going down in Europe from the Premier League, La Liga, Italian, Serie A, and so many more. If you are joining us for the first time, please do well to follow us across all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. My name is John Olasukomi, reporting for Sporting Duty this wonderful afternoon, and joining me virtually I have Daminelli, Victor Ayeton, and of course Bolaji Bale. Victor, great to have you. Welcome to Sport Talk this afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, John. Feels good to be here. Definitely, it's been a while, John. You're looking fly.
Come on, don't talk about.
Just like the way Arsenal is looking fly in the Champions League. So it's a very good one to be here once again.
All right, Bolaji Bale, good afternoon to you.
Last community is good to be on this atmosphere and to talk about what we know how to talk about when it comes to football. And what a day to talk about football, because definitely we are going to witness Premiership, and also we saw Tottenham find a way back to the Champions League semi-final for the first time. The last time they did that was so what in this atmosphere.
All right, well, you know what? Charity begins at home. We'll be starting with home front. Let's start with a local footballer. Remo Stars technical advisor talking about the man called Daniel Ogumadede says that his team will approach their match day 34 clash against Shooting Stars with a winning mindset. The Sky Blue Stars will lock arms with Shooting Stars in the Southwest Derby at the Lake Salami Stadium at Damasinga, Ibadan on Sunday. Now, Bolaji Bale talking about Remo Stars. We all know how they failed to win at Tikene last weekend against Katsina United, that was beaten by Ikorodu City, that was trashed by Ikorodu City by 6 goals to nothing before they played Remo Stars in Ikene. And of course, they are going to this game. They'll be playing away from home against Shooting Stars. You all know the drama that happened in Ibadan the last time Shooting Stars played at home against Ikorodu City. And of course, there is Rivers United following Remo Stars on the log table right now. And of course, they also lost last weekend, and they've reduced the points. The gap between them and, of course, Remo Stars. So what are your thoughts on this one, talking about Remo Stars? And we all know how this 2024-2025 season is so precious to them. All right, Bolaji Bale, what are your thoughts?
I think looking at the cancer between these two teams, they both familiar face to each other, talking about Remo Stars and Shooting Stars. And I think Remo Stars should be going into this game with a lot of confidence, because the factors that the fans of Shooting Stars to be in the stadium is another advantage for Remo Stars.
Yes, of course.
And again, if you look at if you look at the head-to-head of these two teams, I think Remo Stars have been the most advantage in terms of the head-to-head. So definitely, Ogumadede, like a person that I know very well in terms of how he managed to be in charge of his team. And I watched their training section 2 days ago. I could see that they really mean the business because they know exactly what is at stake. Behind the match, we still have about 5 matches to the end of the season now. 7 points on top of the log, and I believe that this team will try to close the gap and win they have 3 matches out of the 5 matches away from home. And I think this Shooting Star is going to be a game that I think Remo Star will take something out of the game. Fine, they are playing against Oluyo Warriors. Against another familiar side, that is the coach. So coach of Shooting Star, coach of Remo Star, they know themselves in terms of the relationship they possess together. But this is a rivalry matchup. But I still think Remo Star will take something away from this game. Consider that Star fans is not going to be at the stadium.
All right, Victor Ayeton, Damileli, what are your thoughts on Remo Stars playing away from home against Shooting Stars of Ibadan?
Well, yeah, I actually think that if you look at the table and 5 matches to go to the end of the Nigerian Premier Football League season, and Remo Stars by mathematics, they just need 9 points out of the last 15
Out
for
of
actually
possible
back the
15
title.
points.
Yeah, out of possible 15 points, they just need 9 points out of the last 15, if I'm correct, to back the title. And of course, they know it's a step closer if they can get the precious away win. They are not unfamiliar to winning away from home this season. That's why they're on top of the log at the moment. And, just to put a little bit of respect or daylight between them and Rivers United, pending when Rivers United play their own league game. And for Shooting Stars, we all know the rivalry that goes around, and we know how Shooting Stars fans are usually passionate about their football.
Yes, of
them
course.
not being in the stadium for this particular game is actually a mental issue for Remo Stars, because I've seen a couple of interviews of Shooting Stars fans when after the match how they react, and them not being in the stadium, it's not really a good moment for Shooting Stars. But for Remo Stars, it's a good moment for them. They get their away win. They are 6 points away from bagging the league title, and of course, Daniel Ogumodede's side deserves this because they've been knocking on the league for 2-3 seasons now.
Yes, of course.
And we finished now for a couple of seasons. So this is the time for them to just take this initiative. Probably it won't be an high scoring affair because are playing away from home. Probably a 2-1 or a 1, you should just do the truth on Daniel Ogumodede's side. They have not really been lucky with results lately, couple of draws in there. But hopefully, they should be able to, if they can back the away win today, that means it's a step in the right direction for them.
All right, let's see how it goes. At 3.4, Remo Stars will definitely be done and dusted in the NPFL because they still have 2 games to be played in Ikene, talking about Remo Stars Stadium. Let's take a look at other fixtures. Enyimba will host Kano Pillars. For me, this will be the biggest game this weekend. Katsina United versus Abia Warriors. Niger Tornadoes will host Bayelsa United. Academy Warriors versus Ikorodu City. Lobby Stars. That they sent them to NNL already. They will play in the NNL next season. They will host Enugu Rangers. Rivers United will definitely play against Sunshine Stars, and of course I believe Ogunere and his boys will just be praying for Rivers United to draw points at home against Sunshine Stars. Outland will host Aquara United. Shooting Stars versus Remo Stars. Plateau United versus Aqua United. Bendel Insurance will host Nasarawa United. Away from NPFL, let's move straight to foreign football, and guess what? We'll be starting with the UEFA Champions League. Arsenal and Inter Milan progress to the Champions League semi-finals after an action-packed night of soccer on Wednesday. Arsenal overcame the challenge of Real Madrid, while Inter beat Bayern Munich to seal its club spot in the next round of the tournament. Talking about UEFA Champions League, the last time Arsenal played in the semi-final was 16 years ago. And of course, they were knocked out by Manchester United. Did you see it coming, Victor Ayeton, when the draw was made that Arsenal will trade tackle with King of Champions League, talking about the Galacticos Real Madrid? Did you see it coming? Oh, man, away!
To be very, very honest, when the draw was initially made, Arsenal Real Madrid, all fans, including myself, said Real Madrid will take Arsenal to the cleaners. Because at the time the draw was made, Arsenal were not so great form. Real Madrid were high-flying, Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo Goes, and Kobo. It just as it happens that on those nights, both nights, at the Emirates Stadium and at the Bernabeu, Arsenal did their job and they've rightfully progressed. And they are deserved winners in this tie, because from the first leg, took Madrid to the cleaners, and the second leg also played Madrid, went to the Bernabeu, did a very, very good job. Although Saka missed the penalty at the beginning of the game, but they played so well. And good one for Arsenal, because first time in Champions League semi-final since 2009. It's been a long time.
Come on, that's crazy.
They knocked out by Man United, Ronaldo and Tevez, Rooney link up at the time. So it's actually a very, very good one for the Arsenal. And I just want to see if Arsenal can push themselves extra. The league is gone already. They can get that extra push, and let's see if they can get to the finals. Of course, they've played PSG in the league phase. They won, so they have the mental edge over them. So can they push themselves to get to the final and bag the trophy and be the maybe erase their name from the, what is it called now? The nearly club that usually called the Arsenal team. So let's see what Arteta has off his sleeve. But I'm sure he's not going to focus on the league any longer because the league is obviously gone. So it's the Champions League or nothing right now. So, but good one for the Arsenal, and rightfully so, they did play well, and they are deserved winners for them to progress to semi-finals.
If you see the way Arsenal fans are celebrating their win over Real Madrid, you would think they've won the Champions League already. Bolaji Bale, all the favourites of the UEFA Champions League are out. Now, talking about Real Madrid, Liverpool, mentioned them. We only have Barcelona, PSG, Inter Milan, and of course, Arsenal left in the Champions League. So, what are your thoughts? What do you think? We definitely be the winner of the UEFA Champions League this season, Bolaji Bale. PSG versus Arsenal. And don't also forget, PSG knocked out EPL champion, talking about the Premier League champion right now, talking about Liverpool. They've knocked out Liverpool, they've knocked out Aston Villa, and now it is Arsenal. So, Bolaji Bale, do you think they will do the same thing to Arsenal Football Club?
Playing against Arsenal Football at this time of their form, I think it's going to be a big problem for Luis Enrique and his boys in terms of if you look at the many that left in the Champions League, Arsenal are the most in terms of defensive aspect conceding less in the Champions League. Looking at this, and if you look at Arsenal now in terms of how many they be able to get their inform at the right time, I think this is another advantage that is going to be in Arsenal favor. But fine, they are playing against another PSG side who are looking like a team that they find their way back into the Champions League. Against Arsenal also, who is going to play their first Champions League semi-final since 2009. This is going to be another dicey game between these two teams here. Arsenal defensively, they are okay. And PSG going forward, they are also okay in terms of how they have managed to be scoring goals. When you have the likes of Mbappe, who has been in a fantastic form this season, and the combination of Saliba, Timber, and the likes.
We're able to KG.
It's going to be a very, it's going to be a very, very dicey day. Consider that Arsenal managed to beat Real Madrid home and away. Nobody saw that coming. And Arsenal, I think they've statement that they look like a favorite team in this encounter of Champions League. But on paper, it's looking like Arsenal can eliminate PSG. But it's just about how ready in terms of mentality from these kids there. Are they going to get carried away with the result they found out against Real Madrid, or are they going to continue their momentum against another wonderful side of PSG? Looking at these two teams here, PSG have won the League One.
Yes, of course.
And
the League One
already. 2 weeks ago. Yes, it goes. So definitely they are going to be resting their players. While Arsenal also will be playing a mind game by resting some of their key players ahead of this encounter. That these two teams will have enough time to prepare for this semi-final Champions League first leg that is going to play at Emirates. Another advantage for the PS, because they know that going back to Paris Saint-Germain to play the second leg is going to be in their favor. But this is Arsenal that have shown us that if they can beat Madrid without not conceding a goal in the Emirates, why not PSG? But just a matter of time who is going to take it. But at the end of the day, I still think Arsenal will lose a concentration at the 9 minutes of the game, and this is the time that matter most in the Champions League. Champions League is not a game affair. It's a marathon.
Yes, of course. All right, Bolaji Bale, thank you for that one. Thank you for your contribution on that one. And of course, talking about PSG, without the likes of Mbappe, Lionel Messi, Neymar Jr., mentioned them. Angel Di Maria, and here they are in the semi-final of the UEFA Champions League. Are we seeing the repeat of what happened in the year 2006, where Arsenal were defeated by Barcelona in the year 2006? But let's see. Only time will tell. All right, in the semi-final, PSG versus Arsenal, and of course, Barcelona versus Inter Milan. Away from UEFA Champions League, let's move straight to the UEFA Cup, where we saw a lot of drama at the Old Trafford last night. Harry Maguire was the hero as Manchester United reached Europa League semi-finals in astonishing fashion, beating Lyon 5-4 on an unforgettable night at Old Trafford when both teams blew 2-goal leads, advancing 7-6 on aggregate. Come on, Victor Ayeton, I know yesterday night we talked about it, and of course, you also told so many people to delete their, all the things that they put on their status. A lot of people were just deleting it one by one. Did you see it coming? At some point, United were trailing at home 4-2, 113 minutes.
Yes.
And within 9 minutes, and of course, Manchester United are turning around, all thanks to the man called Casemiro. And of course, United are in the semi-final. They are trying to look, they are trying to go to the Champions League through the back door. Let's see how it goes. Maybe Ruben Amorim will definitely lead Man United back to Champions League, because this might be a problem for United, even at all. If at all they really want to sign big names next season, and of course, knowing where that they will play in Champions League, most of the big guns might refuse to come to Manchester United. But if they get to win the Europa League, I believe the likes of maybe Osimhen and co, big guns like that, will definitely want to play for United. So what are your thoughts on United game yesterday, Victor Ayeton?
Okay, I think personally it's one of the most craziest games you ever watch in a long time. At the time that United were actually trailing 4-2 after extra time. It's actually weird that 10-man Lyon, Olympic Lyon, was beating United 4-2, and at the point that United was also leading 2-0 to the 70th minute mark in that game, and somehow United comported with themselves to bottle the 2-goal lead. And eventually had to go into extra time with currently also booked second booking and got a red card. But what I would say personally is that we are calling the players. We are saying the players are not good. They are not quality players for the United team. But I think Amorim, my personal opinion, should look at himself, because I feel like he cannot be absorbed of this play. United cannot keep playing like this all the time and then expect individual brilliance to always build them out. Yesterday, it was just due to individual brilliance in the extra time, and the players taking their own initiative to, win the game. Because if you take a look at it, it's like a matter of deja vu for United. We've been in this position before, 2-0 down, and what is the lead again to 2-2? So I don't think it's not all down to Amorim masterclass. I just feel like on the night the player took the initiative and they won the match for United. But personally, I feel like there are improvements, but they can see better improvement. And of course, at the end of this summer, a lot of players will go. But I just feel like this Europa League competition will define United's season on how far Amorim is going to get some, transfers and money and all that. So, because it's the only thing holding the season together for United. If they go out against Athletic Bilbao in the semi-final, it's probably going to result into a lot of issues and problems. But they've shown that on the night, they can actually do something. And, so far, so good. In all European competition this season, it's so weird that Manchester United is the only unbeaten team
yes, of course.
in all UEFA competitions. The Europa League, the Champions League, the Conference League. So I think, personally, for me, let's see if they can go all the way. They're playing another Spanish team in Athletic Bilbao. We know how Spanish team has been their wolves been from time. Barcelona, Sevilla, Villarreal, we can go on and on. The list is long. But
even this same Bilbao under Alex Ferguson back then in the year 2012 or thereabout.
Under Alex Ferguson, in this round of 16 of Europa League, I think it was in 2011, correct? So let's see how far they can go. But I feel like Amorim should also look at himself and also see how they can manage games better when they are in the lead, because it can't keep happening again. We keep bottling leads, and then United keep coming back to win. But yesterday was a very, very crazy game, and of course, United fans are in ecstasy and about how the results went. 7-6 on aggregate was a very, very crazy game. As at 113 minutes, was 4-2 down, but as at 128th minute, it was 5-4. So good for Harry Maguire. I'm happy for Harry Maguire, because really he's been through a lot of things in United, and for him to score that match-winning goal, it definitely means a lot to him and to his United career. But let's see how far they can go in the Europa League. But good one for that since I've progressed. Tottenham Hotspur, Bilbao,
Bodo Glimt.
The other teams have progressed. So Bodo Glimt, beating out Lazio. Very, very nobody expected that. So good one for United and the likes. So let's see how the Europa goes.
All right, let's take a look at other results. Bilbao 2, Rangers 0, Manchester United 5, Olympique Lyon 4, Frankfurt 0, Tottenham 1, Lazio 3, Bodo Glimt 1, and of course, Bodo Glimt progressed to the semi-final via penalty shootout. Fixtures for semi-final: Bilbao will host Manchester United, Tottenham at home versus Bodo Glimt. All right, away from UEFA Europa League, let's move straight to the Premier League. Manchester City will be looking to boost their Champions League qualifying hopes when they travel to Everton on Saturday, 19 April. Pep Guardiola's side head to Goodison Park, aiming to secure a top 4 finish with the likes of Chelsea, Newcastle United and Aston Villa providing stiff competition. However, it will not be easy against a resurgent Everton, who have suffered just 1 defeat in 12 league games since David Moyes returned. Bolaji Bale, this is a big mountain for Manchester City to climb. First time in how many years that City will be struggling to even make top 4. But the good news is this: Phil Foden is back, and of course Manuel Akanji. Bolaji Bale, do you think City can still make top 4 this season?
Definitely, I think Guardiola's side will definitely make the top 4. Consider that in the manner which Nottingham Forest also is losing point these days. I think the reason why I'll be putting Manchester City into this top 4 is because of the results of Nottingham Forest lately. Because Nottingham Forest have not been doing consistency in terms of their results.
Yeah, very true.
A advantage in terms of the probability of them making the top 4. And you know, this is the time that you will know Man City in time. You know, when Foden is coming back from injury and the likes. I know if you remember about 2 months ago, they asked about Guardiola that are they going to qualify for Champions League. He replied with confidently that yes, they are going to qualify. This is a coach that knows in terms of the element and in terms of the importance of what the Champions League means to him, for the team, and for the fans also. So I think the only person that is going to let Manchester City.
All right, talking about City, and of course they are trailing Nottingham Forest with just 2 points. So there is every possibility that Nottingham Forest can still miss out. And don't also forget, 5 teams will be going to Champions League. All right, we have you back, Bolaji Bale. Go ahead, we have you back.
So I think Manchester City will qualify for the Champions League. Consider that Newcastle and Nottingham Forest have not been able to be pounding the results the way
All right, thank you for that one. Daminelli, do you see City making it to the top 4? Just 2 points behind Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, on basis of their form, it seems that Nottingham Forest has actually dipped in form. And you can see the resurgent form from Newcastle actually. You know, Newcastle, look at their last game, Crystal Palace, took them to the cleaners, 5-0 win. Very, very confident win. And it seems Newcastle are on the up. And somehow, I always said at the beginning of the season that my personal opinion about Nottingham Forest was that when they were second, third on the table at the time, I feel like they were setting a good standard for themselves in terms of making it to finishing in the top 6. Not necessarily in the top 4. But the good thing about the top 4 is that now they've approved that UEFA has said that 5 teams from English
Yes, of course.
will be going to the Champions League. So maybe they could still somehow finish 5th and go to the Champions League.
And because there is still Chelsea. Don't forget there is still Chelsea. There is still Aston Villa. And with the way they are going down, they might not make top 7, Seth, with their form. Talking about Nottingham Forest.
They've actually dipped in form. But let's see if they have the technical, just the mental fortitude to just try and just scrape over the line. But they're still 4th and 5th to scramble for. They've played the same number of matches with Manchester City, and they are 2 points ahead. If they can just hold on, say to like match 36, and they are still ahead of Manchester City, and I think they'll go to Champions League. It will be good to see a new team like Forest in the Champions League. We'll see Newcastle go there. We'll see Aston Villa go there this season. So Nottingham Forest in Champions League next season would not be bad for the English League, of course, showing that the English League will bring in good players and all that. I mean, new teams and all that. But it's still going to be very, very tough because if you look at the table, Nottingham Forest is at 4th position. They're on 57 points. Chelsea and Aston Villa are in 6th and 7th, and they're on 54 and 54
Just 3 points between them.
yes, it's not going to be easy at all. So let's see how it goes, really.
All right, let's take a look at other fixtures. Everton, we host Man City, Ipswich Town versus Arsenal, Brentford versus Brighton, West Ham versus Southampton, Crystal Palace at home against Bournemouth. Man United, we host Wolves, Fulham versus Chelsea, Leicester City versus Liverpool. This should be a walkover for Liverpool. And of course, big problem for Nottingham Forest. They'll be playing away from home against Tottenham Hotspur. And of course, the biggest game for me happens to be Aston Villa versus Newcastle. And of course, good news for all Liverpool fans, Mo Salah and of course Virgil van Dijk signed a 2-year contract. All right, away from the Premier League, let's move straight to La Liga. FC Barcelona will once again defend their hold on the top position in the Spanish La Liga standings as they and second place Real Madrid both play difficult rivals in front of their own fans this weekend. Barcelona have 70 points from 31 matches, while Real Madrid have 66 points. Just 4 points between Barcelona and, of course, Real Madrid. Real Madrid are out of the UEFA Champions League, so they want to channel all their power to Spanish La Liga. This weekend, they will be hosting Athletic Bilbao. Bolaji Bay, do you think Real Madrid can still win the La Liga this season? No more Champions League for them. They will only focus on La Liga. All right, I don't think Bolaji Bale is still with us. Damileli, do you think they have what it takes, to go all out to win La Liga this season?
Well, they're just 4 points behind, if I'm correct. They are 4 points behind FC Barcelona. There is still the second El Clasico to play. So far they keep winning, they keep mounting pressure on Barcelona. They would want to get the point over them at the El Clasico. Now, don't forget, there's still a small matter of the Copa del Rey final. It will be playing in their minds too. And Athletic Bilbao at this point also they are in some kind of, they are quite okay on the log table. But I think Madrid still have what it takes to actually beat Athletic Bilbao, even if it's by a lone goal difference. But at the moment, I think Madrid can still, of course, they'll become with the old anger and fire from the UCL elimination to, of course, mount pressure on Barcelona. So I think they can still win La Liga. It's still winnable. They can still end their season with a double at the expense of Barcelona. So it's not going to be easy for them. But yeah, of course.
All right, let's see how it goes.
Now, but let's see how it goes. Yeah.
All right, Real Madrid versus Bilbao, Barcelona versus Celta Vigo, Sevilla versus Alaves, Las Palmas versus Atletico Madrid, Girona. We host Betis. All right, in Italian Serie A, the games are coming thick and fast for Serie A leaders Inter Milan, and after reaching Champions League semi-finals in midweek, they face a tricky away test at 5th place Bologna on Sunday as they continue their title defense and treble hunt. A 2-2 draw at home to Bayern Munich was enough to advance to meet Barcelona in the Champions League, and with the Coppa Italia semi-final second leg coming up next week against AC Milan, Simone Inzaghi must ensure his side are not distracted from the Scudetto race. It's going to be a long month, long weeks for Inter Milan. This weekend, they'll be playing away from home against Bologna. Let's take a look at other fixtures. Monza, we host Napoli, Roma versus Verona, Bologna versus Inter Milan, AC Milan versus Atalanta, Parma versus almighty Juventus. In as much as Victor Ayeton Damleli,
Juventus are what? Juventus are,
of course, almighty Juventus any day, anytime. All right.
The best they can get is Champions League place. That's the best they can get.
All right. Thank you.
The truth.
Thank you. You people should go and pass through your back door. It's okay. It's all right. All right. Our time is fast spent. We just have to leave this studio. How much you can take on Sport Talk on Enterprise TV 7. Endeavor to subscribe and click the notification bell to get notified of all alerts. Follow us across all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. Like, share, and engage in all our content. Visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com for all the news you can use, the inclusives, and the live update. Victor Ayeton Damleri and of course Bolaji Bale has been great on the show this wonderful afternoon. My name remains John Olashkomi. See you next time.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.